Hi, my name is Mark Pascal. I've been a technologist for over 25 years and I'm privileged to have been heavily involved in the blockchain Web3 space since 2014. I'm really excited to talk to you about a fundamentally different approach to making our society more equitable. And for me, this journey really started a couple of years ago when I met the ex-head of the Auckland City Mission, a lady called Dame Diane Robinson, who showed me this fascinating research where they had tracked a family of 4 in South Auckland over a 2-week period. In that time, they learned that this family interacted with over 40 different organisations. 40! That completely blew me away and really started me on this journey of discovery with the conclusion that our social welfare system is really broken. How on earth did we as a society create a system that ignores the lasting effects of colonisation and does little to halt the continual decline of community and social cohesion? Instead of helping people to land on their feet, this inefficient, bureaucratic and fragmented system strips people of their autonomy, questions their purpose, and often leaves them disempowered with little hope for the future. But why can't we as a society see a way out of this problem? Well, we believe it's because we're stuck in old paradigms. The old top-down command and control frameworks that are so ingrained into our thinking simply cannot provide the answers to a better welfare system. We believe the solution lies in a new paradigm, one in which we leverage the power of community to support our well-being. We want to build on the work of Nobel Prize-winning researcher Elinor Ostrom, who famously quoted, "There is no reason to believe that the bureaucrats and politicians, no matter how well-meaning, are better at solving the problems than the people on the spot who have the strongest incentive to get the solution right." And the power of community is proven to be effective. For example, take the study in the city of Frome, southwest England. It achieved an incredible 46% difference in the rate of hospital admissions compared to neighbouring counties, simply by introducing community initiatives. This is a quote from one of the doctors involved. "No other intervention on record have reduced emergency admissions across a population." And in New Zealand, there are many examples of successful community-driven initiatives. But how do we take these well-understood and successful community-led approaches and amplify their impact? How do we push back against the incredibly strong forces of centralisation, capitalism and colonisation that are constantly trying to reduce community cohesion and power? We believe the answer lies in leveraging 2 new forces, the forces of localism and decentralisation. Over the last few decades, design patterns, frameworks and tools have been emerging that make localism more viable. However, challenges remain relating to costs, coordination, and simply the difficulty of extending high-trust human networks beyond more than a few hundred people. This has really constrained progress. But with the maturing of blockchain and Web3, we now have the technology to counter these issues and allow localism to truly thrive. We now have the ability to build a new type of community infrastructure, one that is trustless and not reliant on government or big corporations. Crucially, this decentralized digital infrastructure enables us to organize ourselves in new ways. We can create better ways to make decisions and allocate resources. We can now build non-hierarchical, empowering, experimental and transparent organizations. And in the world of Web3, these organizations are now known as DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations. So a DAO is a borderless, open, transparent organisation that aims to most efficiently achieve a set of purpose-driven goals through the use of independent agents driven by token economic incentive mechanisms. So a DAO really starts to blur the line between an organisation, a community and an economy. And DAOs allow us to build purpose-driven, trustworthy systems. Which brings me to our solution and where we move away from the old paradigm. So we want to establish the world's first community development DAO, an organisation that is truly owned and controlled by the community it serves, an organisation that restores dignity to marginalised communities who are currently reliant on welfare, charity and philanthropy, an organisation that gives people in communities a voice and choice to be self-sovereign in their decision-making. So to put this new paradigm in context, let's go back to our family of 4 in Auckland and project forward a few years to when their community DAO is well established. This DAO has helped the local community transform itself into a resilient, connected and thriving network which is incentivised to coordinate resources in a way that can help this family when it is in need, over time reducing their reliance on the old welfare system. And I chose not to be too specific when describing this future state on purpose, because I don't know what challenges this family is facing or the best way to help this family. I don't know that family. I'm not from that area. And that ultimately is what this project is all about. Not relying on people with privilege and power dictating from afar, and instead trusting communities to identify problems and find solutions. So we've begun the journey to create this new paradigm after being accepted into the GovTech Accelerator programme last year and pitching to Parliament. We then collaborated with the community of Cannons Creek, just north of Wellington, and tested some of these new ideas in a highly publicised trial. We learnt a lot, and this gave us foundational knowledge and the confidence to plan a much more ambitious second pilot. So next up is to start and build a minimum viable product DAO. Initially, we would want to work with the community to create the DAO constitution, its purpose, its values, its core governance rules. We then put in some simple token economic incentives. What does that mean in practice? Well, first, we will allocate some funds to the DAO treasury. We create a token with real-world value that represents that value. Then we make that treasury available to the community in a way that incentivises its members to find new ways to increase well-being. And as part of that, we wrap around a whole lot of education and support. We measure and publish the resulting wellbeing increase and support the community to generate publicity. Our hope is that charities and philanthropists and just about anybody who sees these stories see the data. They will start to see how effective this model is and decide to support by donating money into the DAO treasury. As a result, the community now has more funds to spend on new wellbeing initiatives, creating this initial positive feedback loop. But keep in mind that this is just the beginning, a way to get started. The exciting bit is that over time, the community, through this DAO entity, can start to buy and create its own assets, reducing its reliance on external funding. Working with the community, we can explore new forms of capital that align to local culture, local values, and we can't predict what will emerge. But bear in mind also that tokens are programmable. They can not only be used for value transfer, but also for a multitude of other things, such as governance, reputation, and creating new incentives. Our job is to provide the fertile ground for local communities to innovate and unlock their own potential. Everything we do will be open source and designed so that it can be reused by other communities, so we can scale impact. So why now? Well, inequality is increasing, we all know that, and our support systems are under increasingly high pressure. The technology is ready, both the back-end blockchain and the fact that smartphones have penetrated all parts of society. And the COVID situation over the last 2 years has resulted in even more disconnection, community breakdown and isolation for many. Why here? We believe New Zealand is the perfect place to evolve and test this concept. We have government enacting world-leading wellbeing policies, a global reputation for localism expertise, strong links to our Indigenous culture, who really understand alternative forms of capital and governance. But we need some initial capital to get this project moving. So we are looking for a small group of seed donors, either individuals or organisations. We're aiming to raise a minimum of 200,000 New Zealand dollars in an all-or-nothing raise. At this point, we're just looking for verbal pledges from people who may be interested. Once we've got enough of those people, then we'll come back to everybody, share who else is involved, and then we'll lock things in. The focus of this fund will be to get the first community DAO running. Fund governance will be managed by the advisory team, shown in the previous slide. And at this point, we'll be using the funds to support the core team and contributors to undertake research planning, start to coordinate the minimum viable product, and provide an initial economic value and stimulation to the DAO, but also to grow the community. So why would you want to help us with funding? Well, we believe we're creating a better way to create impact. This is a really exciting opportunity to support an ambitious project that could change the lives of many people. Some of the more specific benefits to donors, we're going to be allocating impact DAO tokens, and the utility value of those tokens is yet to be defined. There may be the possibility of us getting retroactive funding. It's a really interesting opportunity to join us on this exciting learning and discovery journey. We will be acknowledging our supporters through our various channels. We attracted a lot of media attention in the first trial, and later on this year we're set to be the subject of a TVNZ on-demand documentary. But of course we'll respect the wishes of those who wish to stay out of the limelight. What we are looking for is a diverse range of value-aligned donors who can contribute in many ways. I've been fortunate enough to have founded and led numerous high-tech businesses in the past. I now have the huge privilege to be able to use some of the things I've learned over my career, work alongside some amazing people who want to create positive impact, and start something that has the potential to create a kinder, more inclusive and just world where everyone can flourish. We are building a world-class team and a group of purpose-driven impact investors. If you'd like to join us, please get in touch. Thank you.